Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to the session. Dear students, today we shall be discussing about Events Management C404, chapter number 4, Legal Compliance, and we shall be covering subtopic 4.1, that is Business Registration. So before we get into the chapter, let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Yogendra Singh Tanwar and I am working as assistant professor at AISSMS College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Pune. My email address is ystAISSMSCHMCT@gmail.com. Students, before we get into the chapter, let's understand the objectives of today's learning. So, by the end of this session, you would be able to define and understand what is legal compliance, what does legal compliance cover, what is the rule of the law, why is the rule of law important to business, what are the risks of non compliance, procedure for business registration in India. Now, let me introduce the topic. So let's understand what is legal compliance. Legal compliance is the process by which your company and employees follow internal, state, and central government laws and regulations. The purpose of an ongoing legal compliance program is to protect your organization from costly fines and lawsuits. Employees can be trained to recognize and report any unethical activity that does not align with an organization's business goals. No matter the size or industry of your organization, legal compliance is a necessary component of operations. What does legal compliance cover? Legal compliance covers a range of HR practices from recruiting, hiring, onboarding, compensation, performance appraisal, employee handbook, health and safety of the employees, labor relations, anti-discrimination laws, sexual harassment laws, and it also covers a very wide definition laws, examples, forms, conditions, liabilities, policies for reporting and preventing and investigation. Now let's understand what is the rule of the law. Now dear students, the rule of the law has one very simple definition, but in its essence, it's a concept that means no one is above the law. The rule of law means that there are clear, understandable rules that everyone has to follow. Citizens, governments, and businesses. It's a way of keeping our justice system fair and ensuring that everyone complies with the law. Now, let's understand why is the rule of law important to your business. If you imagine doing business without any legal means to protect your best interest, you will understand why the rule of law is important to business. The rule of law gives everyone a framework for how to act and operate. It holds people, businesses, and government accountable for their actions. Without predictable rules and patterns to follow, doing business would be a very chaotic. You would never know how another party would act in any given situation, and, would, and it would be all too easy to take an advantage of. And rule of law also provides much needed stability, consistency, and certainty in a potentially volatile landscape. Now, dear student, let's understand what are the risks of non-compliance. Failing to comply with state and federal guidelines or central government guidelines can have serious consequences for your business. That's why it is so important to know and understand this law. If you don't, you can be vulnerable to fines, lawsuits, audits, even having business dissolved entirely. So that is why we all should understand the importance of compliance. Now, let's understand our subtopic, that is 4.1, business registration. So, what do I mean by business registration? Business registration means a business registration is a certificate. It is issued by Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. Now let's understand the Companies Act 2013. The Companies Act 2013 states that, and it consolidates and amends the law relating to companies, which regulates incorporation of company, responsibilities of a company, director, dissolution of a company. The Act has replaced the Companies Act 1956, not in a full manner but in a partial manner. After receiving the assent, the expression of approval or agreement by the President of India on 29th August 2013, the Act came into force on 12th September 2013 with few changes. Now, dear students, once the registration application is approved, the regulatory authority, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, also known as MCA, is a government portal, would issue certificate of incorporation along with identification number, PAN, and TAN number of the company. Now, dear students, let's understand step-by-step procedure to register a business in India. Now, dear students, establishing a new business, it will seem like a challenging proposition, yet it can reap great benefits for both the company and economy at large. With the many entities looking to step up enterprises, there are a few things to consider when registering your business in India. The fundamental steps that are necessary for registering any business in India are as follows. So let's have a look at these steps. So number one is checking the company name availability. So before any company registration can take place, you must check whether the proposed name is available or not. Now this can be done online, where applicants may check the availability of their desired company names on the MCA website. Once approved, the selected company name appears on the website. Now, number two, acquiring a director identification number or DIN number. A director identification number is a special identification number that is provided to any existing or potential directors of companies that are incorporated. A provisional DIN number can be obtained by filling a DIN 1 application form online. Then a printed and signed version of the form must be forwarded to the ministry along with identity and address proof for their approval. A permanent DIN number is issued after the verification of all the documents and subsequent approval of the request. Now let's understand step number 3, acquiring a digital certificate. Digital certificate or a digital signature certificate, also known as DSC, are the digital equivalent, that is electronic format of physical or paper certificates. Likewise, a digital certificate can be presented electronically to prove one's identity, to access information on services on the internet, or to sign certain documents digitally. A digital signature certificate is an is issued electronic key that validates and identifies the holders of the certificate. One of the approved agencies registered with the ministry can issue this certificate. Now, an application form, identity proof, and permanent address proof must be submitted by the company directors when applying for digital signature certificate. Now let's look into step number 4, that is obtaining an incorporation certificate. Now, an incorporation certificate is provided by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and is used as proof for constitution of company. To apply, the following forms must be digitally filled on the official Ministry of Company Affairs website. Number one is E-Form 32, E-Form 1 and E-Form 18. Along with Form 1, the Registrar of Companies must be provided with one copy of each. The Memorandum and Articles of Association, MOA and AOA, the consent of directors, and a stamped copy establishing the power of attorney. The certificate of incorporation will be automatically sent to the email ID as provided in the information submitted with the form while incorporating the company. Now let's understand step number 5, creating a company seal for official documentation. The company seal is required to be placed on papers for sharing certificates, other official documents. The total cost of acquiring an official seal is dependent on the number of words that need to be engraved on it, the number of seal issued, and the time period for the delivery of the seals. It is to be noted here that requirements to maintain the company seal is not mandatory for private companies. Now, dear students, let's understand step number 6, that is stamping of all company documents. The application to have the company incorporation documents stamped must be always have the unsigned copies of the memorandum and article of association attached alongside the payment receipt for the same. Stamp duty should be paid online for such documents to the registrar of companies. Following this application, the superintendent will return the copies, one which is stamped, signed, and embossed in official capacity. Finally, the company promoters must sign the MOA and AOA with all required information being filled in their own handwriting. Now, dear students, let's understand step number 7, acquiring a permanent account number or PAN number, also known as a PAN card. For filing of Form 49A is required for the application of PAN card. Once a unique PAN is acquired, a physical version of PAN card will be delivered to a registered address by official post. The PAN application may also be done online, but the required documents will still need to be physically sent for final verification. Now, dear students, let's understand acquiring a tax account number or a TAN number. As per Government of India, tax deduction account number or tax collection account number, which is also known as TAN number, is a special number issued by the Income Tax Department to all the entities who are required to either deduct or collect tax at source. To obtain this number, you should register, and application for TAN can be done either offline or through NSDL website. Once the application is verified, it will be forwarded to Income Tax Department and the TAN is issued. Now, let's understand step number 9, obtaining a certificate from State Municipal Inspector under the Shops Act and Establishment Act. Shop and Establishment Act, a statement that includes the employer, manager's name, company's designated name, and permanent postal address and business category must be provided to the state shop and establishment inspector along with the payment of applicable fees. This is vital step in trade license registration as all companies must be registered within 1 month or 30 days of opening of their business. Let's look at step number 10, applying for GST registration. Now, GST is Goods and Service Tax Registration. GST registration is also mandatory for any business seeking to undertake the supply of goods and services across state while maintaining an annual aggregate turnover of more than 40 lakhs rupees. This should be prioritized before any other processes for new company registration. For more information on GST, you can visit the government website portal of GST. GST registration is mandatory if you are a seller. Now, dear students, let's look at step number 11, obtaining a professional tax certificate from the State Professional Tax Office. Now, every employer who is not a government officer is liable to taxation and must obtain a certificate of registration from the relevant authority. The company is required to file Form 1 with the State Professional Tax Office to apply for the professional tax certificate, if applicable. Now, dear students, let's understand last but not least the final step for registering the business, completing a National Employees Provident Fund registration. Every employer is required to provide their worker information to local employee provident fund organization, that is EPFO. This must be done in the prescribed manner so that an establishment code number or ECN can be allotted to the company. This process is within the sole purview of the employer and no separate application need to be made by the employees. Note that this will also be required if the provisions of the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act of 1952. Of course, once your business is finally off the ground, you will need to be able to sell your range of products too. So, dear students, on that note, let's look at the references. I have referenced Event Management book by R.K. Singh, Aman Publication, New Delhi. Picture courtesy is by Google Images. And dear students, there is a humble request. Please take a quiz at the end of this video. I have given the link in the description. Students, to end this, I would like to thank you, all of you, for listening patiently, and thank you very much for your time and attendance and attention. See you in next video. Have a great day ahead. Thank you very much once again. Bye everyone.